The smell of betrayal has a particular stench, like cheap perfume mixed with lies, and the metallic taste of blood in your mouth after someone sucker punches you. I should know. I'm Greg Miller, and I've been breathing that stench for 3 months now. Ever since I found out my wife Alicia has been playing house with Dominic Ruiz, the factory foreman who thinks he's God's gift to married women. Nothing says married bliss like watching your wife flirt with Tarzan while your beer goes flat at a Halloween party where everyone knows the joke except you. The Victorian house we bought 5 years ago creaks like an old ship in a storm tonight. Alicia's getting ready for Richard Ford's annual Halloween bash, and she's chosen a Catwoman outfit that leaves nothing to imagination. The black leather clings to her like a second skin, and I can't help but notice she's put more effort into this costume than she has into our marriage in the past year. "You're staring," she says, not looking at me as she applies red lipstick in the hallway mirror. "Can't help it. You look—" I pause, searching for the right word. "Dangerous." She finally turns, and there's something in her green eyes I haven't seen in months. Excitement. Life. Just not for me. "Ready?" she asks, grabbing her purse. "As I'll ever be." The Ford house is already packed when we arrive. Richard greets us at the door, dressed as a vampire, his wife Nikki beside him in a witch costume that somehow manages to be both elegant and spooky. "Greg, Alicia, you made it," Richard says, shaking my hand. "Bars in the kitchen, food's everywhere else." "Thanks, man." I head toward the kitchen while Alicia disappears into the crowd. The kitchen is where I first see them together. Dominic Ruiz, dressed as Tarzan in nothing but a loincloth and fake muscles, is leaning against the counter talking to my wife. They're standing closer than casual friends should, and when he laughs at something she says, his hand brushes her arm. I grab a beer and watch. Alicia's body language is all wrong. She's turned toward him, her hand playing with her hair, that laugh she used to save for me now freely given to this peacock in a jungle outfit. "Quite a show, huh?" I turn to find Nikki beside me, pouring herself wine. "What do you mean?" "Oh, come on, Greg. The whole town's been talking." She lowers her voice. "I probably shouldn't say anything, but what?" "Susie Carter was at the grocery store last week, bragging about some wild night out. She mentioned Alicia and Dom. Said they were getting pretty cozy at that new restaurant downtown." My grip tightens on the beer bottle. Susie Carter is Alicia's best friend and, ironically, Dominic's wife. If she's talking, things are worse than I thought. "When was this?" "Thursday night. You know, when Alicia said she was having girls' night out? Thursday night. When I was home alone, watching Netflix and wondering why my wife seemed happier leaving the house than staying in it. I watch Alicia and Dominic for another 20 minutes. They're not just flirting, they're operating like a couple. He gets her drinks, she touches his arm when she talks, and when Susie joins them, the three of them form a tight circle that screams conspiracy. Around midnight, Alicia gets drunk, really drunk, the kind of drunk where she forgets to be careful. She leaves her phone on the kitchen counter when she goes to the bathroom, and for the first time in months, it's unlocked. I shouldn't look, I know I shouldn't, but the smell of betrayal is getting stronger, and I need to know if I'm going crazy or if my world is actually falling apart. The text messages hit me like a sledgehammer to the chest. "Dom. Can't stop thinking about last night. You drive me wild. Beautiful. Alicia. Susie's at her mom's tomorrow. Come over around 2? Dom. Already counting the minutes. Greg suspect anything? Alicia. He's clueless. Always has been." I scroll up. Weeks of messages. Months. Photos I wish I'd never seen. Videos that make my stomach turn. My wife, my Alicia, with this muscle-bound idiot and his wife, doing things that would make a sailor blush. The phone slips from my hands, clattering onto the counter. Several people look over, but I'm already moving toward the door. "Greg?" Richard calls after me. "You okay, man?" I don't answer. I can't. Because if betrayal was a sport, my wife just set a new record, and I'm standing here like an idiot in a haunted house, surrounded by people in costumes, realizing that the biggest fake in the room is my marriage. The next morning, Alicia sleeps until noon. When she finally stumbles into the kitchen, hungover and disheveled, I'm sitting at the table with coffee and a printout of her text messages. "Morning, beautiful," I say, not looking up from the paper. She freezes halfway to the coffee maker. "What's that?" "Oh, this? Just some light reading. Your phone was unlocked last night. Very educational." The color drains from her face, but she recovers quickly. Alicia's always been good at thinking on her feet. Greg, I can explain. Can you? Because I'm really curious how you explain 3 months of screwing Dominic Ruiz and his wife while I'm at work. Thinking my biggest problem is why you don't want to have dinner together anymore. She sits down across from me, and I see her switch tactics. The tears start, right on cue. I'm so sorry. I never meant for this to happen. Things between us have been so hard lately, and Dom was just there, and and Susie? Was she just there too? The tears stop. For just a second, I see the real Alicia, cold, calculating. Then the mask goes back up. And you're tired, Greg. You're hurt, and you're not thinking clearly. Maybe we should talk about this when you've had time to process. I laugh. I actually laugh. Process? You want me to process the fact that my wife is starring in her own personal porno with the town's answer to Fabio and his wife? And don't be crude. Crude? Honey, I haven't even gotten started on crude. But here's what's going to happen. You're going to pack your things and get out of my house. Our house, she corrects. My name's on the deed too. Actually, it's not. Remember? We put it in my name for the tax benefits. Your idea, if I recall. For the first time since I've known her, Alicia Miller is speechless. You have until tomorrow, I continue. After that, I'm changing the locks. She leaves without another word, and I pour myself another cup of coffee. My hands are shaking, but not from fear, from anger, pure, focused rage that I haven't felt since my boxing days. That afternoon, I drive to Murphy's Gym, a rundown place on the wrong side of town where I used to train before Alicia convinced me boxing was beneath us. Deshaun Williams is still there, working the heavy bag like he's got a personal grudge against it. Well, I'll be damned, he says when he sees me. Greg Miller, thought you'd gone all fancy on us. Turns out fancy isn't all it's cracked up to be. Deshaun's a smart guy. He reads my face and nods toward the bag. Want to talk about it or work it out? Both. I spend 2 hours beating the hell out of that bag while telling Deshaun about Alicia, Dominic, and Susie. By the time I'm done, my knuckles are raw and my head is clear. So what's the plan? Deshaun asks, tossing me a towel. I'm going to destroy them. We talking illegal destruction or the fun kind? The fun kind. The kind where they destroy themselves and I just help them along. Deshaun grins. Now you're talking my language. Over the next week, I start gathering intelligence. I follow Dominic's schedule, learn his routines. The man's predictable as clockwork. Gym at 6, work at 8, lunch at the diner on Main Street, home by 5:30. Except on Tuesdays and Thursdays, when he makes a detour to the Riverside Motel. I rent a room across the parking lot, and wait. Sure enough, Alicia shows up at 2:15, lets herself into room 12 with her own key. They've been at this long enough to have a system. I take photos. Lots of photos. Time-stamped, date-stamped, GPS-stamped photos that would hold up in any court in the country. But that's just the beginning. The next Tuesday, I'm at the Rusty Anchor when Dominic walks in with 2 buddies from the factory. They grab a table near the bar, and Dom starts holding court about his latest conquest. You should see this chick I'm banging, he brags, loud enough for half the bar to hear. Married to some loser who doesn't know what he's got. She does things that would make your head spin. One of his friends laughs. What about Susie? What about her? She's having her fun too. We're very progressive. I record every word on my phone. Clear as a bell, loud as life. Dominic Ruiz bragging about screwing my wife to anyone who'll listen. The smell of betrayal is getting stronger, but now it's mixed with something else. The sweet scent of revenge. Something else to revenge. The annual Chamber of Commerce dinner is held at the Ocean View restaurant, the fanciest place in town. Alicia works there as an event coordinator, which is how I know they'll be using the new projection system for the evening's presentation. I arrive early, dressed in my best suit, and volunteer to help with the technical setup. The restaurant manager, Bob Chen, is grateful for the assistance. Greg, you're a lifesaver. This new system is giving us fits. Happy to help, I say, connecting my laptop to the projector. Just want to make sure everything runs smoothly. Alicia looks stunning in a black cocktail dress, playing the perfect hostess while avoiding eye contact with me. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming tonight. Before we begin with community announcements, I thought you might enjoy some personal communications from our fellow citizens. Instead of the Chamber of Commerce slide, the screen fills with text messages between Alicia and Dominic. The explicit ones, the really explicit ones. Within seconds, the entire restaurant is either staring in shock or pulling out their phones to record the screen. "Oh my God," Alicia whispers, her face turning white. Dominic jumps up from his table. "Turn that off!" "Technical difficulties," I announce calmly. "These things happen." I click to the next slide. It's a photo of Dominic's car in the Riverside Motel parking lot, time-stamped from last Thursday. The slide after that shows Alicia walking toward room 12. "Greg, stop this right now," Alicia shouts, but her voice is drowned out by the murmur of the crowd. Susie Carter looks like she's going to be sick. Several women at her table are staring at her with expressions ranging from pity to disgust. I click to the final slide. An audio file icon labeled Dom's Greatest Hits, live from the Rusty Anchor. Let's listen to what our friend Dominic has to say about his extracurricular activities. Dominic's voice fills the restaurant, crystal clear through the sound system. "You should see this chick I'm banging. Married to some loser who doesn't know what he's got." That's when Dominic charges toward me. He's bigger than me, younger than me, and probably stronger than me. But he's not thinking clearly, and I spent 15 years in boxing rings learning how to handle guys who relied on size and anger instead of skill and patience. He swings wild, a haymaker that would have taken my head off if it had connected. Instead, I step aside, and his momentum carries him past me. He stumbles, trying to regain his balance, and trips over the microphone cord. Dominic Ruiz, the mighty Tarzan of the factory floor, goes down hard, taking the dessert table with him. Wedding cake, someone's anniversary celebration, explodes across his chest and face. The restaurant erupts in laughter and applause. Half the crowd is on their feet, phones recording every second of Dom's humiliation. "You bastard!" Alicia screams at me. "How could you do this?" I look at her, this woman I once loved, covered in shame and cake frosting, and feel absolutely nothing. "Easy," I say. "I learned from the best." She runs out of the restaurant, Susie close behind her. Dominic struggles to his feet, cake dripping from his hair, and follows them into the parking lot. I stay for dessert. What's left of it, anyway. Richard Ford approaches my table as the crowd begins to thin out. Jesus, Greg, that was overdue? I was going to say brutal, but yeah, overdue works too. He sits down across from me. You know this is going to be all over social media by morning. I'm counting on it. What happens now? I finish my coffee and stand up. Now the real fun begins. Outside, I can hear Alicia and Susie arguing in the parking lot, their voices carrying on the night air. Dominic is trying to get into his car, but his hands are shaking too badly to get the key in the ignition. If this is what high society looks like, I'll take the gutter any day. By morning, the restaurant incident has gone viral. Someone posted the video on Facebook, and it's been shared 300 times. The local newspaper picks it up, running a story about disruptions at community events that doesn't mention names, but includes enough details that everyone knows exactly who they're talking about. Alicia's parents call her at 7 a.m. I know this because she calls me at 7:15, crying. They're cutting me off, she sobs into the phone. Mom says I've embarrassed the family. Dad won't even talk to me. That's rough, I say, not feeling rough about it at all. Greg, please, we can work this out. I'll end things with Dom. I'll go to counseling, whatever you want. What I want is for you to disappear. I have nowhere to go. I can't afford an apartment on my own. And now with this video everywhere, I might lose my job. Sounds like a personal problem. I hang up and drive to Murphy's gym. Deshaun is already there, grinning like Christmas morning. Saw the video, he says. Beautiful work. Phase 1 complete. What's phase 2? Dominic thinks he's Tarzan? Time to cut down his tree. That evening, I park across from Dominic's house and wait. He lives in one of those new developments where every house looks exactly the same, except his has the biggest truck in the driveway and a sound system that probably cost more than most people's cars. At 8:30, he comes out to check his mail. I'm ready. The device Deshaun helped me build is simple but effective. It's a small transmitter that overrides his car's Bluetooth system and broadcasts whatever I want through his premium speakers. All I have to do is get close enough to his truck to attach the magnetic housing under the bumper. I wait until he goes back inside, then move quickly across the street. The transmitter attaches with a soft click, invisible unless you know where to look. The next morning, I'm parked 2 blocks away when Dominic comes out for work. He gets in his truck, starts the engine, and immediately his own voice fills the neighborhood at maximum volume. She does things that would make your head spin. Her husband's a complete loser. Dominic frantically tries to turn off the radio, but the device overrides all his controls. Neighbors come out of their houses to see what the commotion is about. Several of them start recording with their phones. The broadcast continues. What about Susie? What about her? She's having her fun too. Dominic finally turns off the engine, but the damage is done. His neighbors now know exactly what kind of man he is, and the video footage will be online within hours. I drive to work whistling. That afternoon, Susie Carter shows up at my house. She looks like she hasn't slept in days. We need to talk, she says. Do we? About Alicia, about Dom, about all of this. I let her in, curious to hear what she has to say. Look, I know you're angry, she begins. You have every right to be, but this has gone far enough, has it? People are talking. The whole town thinks we're some kind of perverts, aren't you? She flinches like I've slapped her. It wasn't supposed to be like this. It was just fun, something different. We never meant to hurt anyone, but you did hurt someone. You hurt me. I know, and I'm sorry. Really, truly sorry. She reaches into her purse and pulls out a small recording device. That's why I'm giving you this. What is it? A conversation between Alicia and me from 2 weeks ago, before the restaurant thing. She was planning something, Greg. Something to get you out of the picture permanently. I take the recorder, my hands suddenly cold. What kind of something? Just listen to it, please, and then maybe we can call this even. After she leaves, I sit in my kitchen and press play. Alicia's voice comes through clearly. We need to get rid of Greg. He's suspicious, and if he finds out about us, he'll take everything. Susie's voice. What are you suggesting? He used to box, right? He's got a temper. What if he lost control? What if he hit me? Alicia, that's crazy or smart? 1 bruise, 1 police report, 1 restraining order, and I get the house. half his savings, and alimony. Then Dom and I can be together without sneaking around. But Greg would never hit you. He doesn't have to actually hit me, Susie. I just need it to look like he did. The recording continues for another 10 minutes, with Alicia laying out her plan to frame me for domestic violence. She'd researched the laws, found a sympathetic lawyer, even picked out the makeup she'd used to fake bruises. When it ends, I sit in the silence of my kitchen and realize that I've been playing checkers while my wife was playing chess. She wasn't just cheating on me. She was planning to destroy me. The smell of betrayal is overwhelming now. But underneath it is something else. Something sharp and clean and pure. The smell of justice. The rusty anchor is packed on Friday night. It's payday at the factory, and half of Dominic's coworkers are there, spending their wages on beer and bullshit. I arrive early and claim a table near the back, where I can see everything but stay out of the way. Deshaun meets me there at 8, carrying a small duffel bag. "You sure about this?" he asks. "Never been more sure of anything in my life. Once we do this, there's no going back." Good. I don't want to go back. At 8:30, Dominic walks in with his usual crew. He's trying to act normal, but I can see the strain around his eyes. The truck incident this morning has him rattled, and the social media attention isn't helping. He orders a beer and tries to blend in, but several people are staring at him. Word travels fast in a small town, and everyone knows about the restaurant video and the truck broadcast. At 9 o'clock, I make my move. I walk to the bar and accidentally bump into Dominic, causing him to spill his beer. "Sorry, man," I say loudly. "Let me buy you another one." "I don't want anything from you," he mutters. "Come on, Dom. No hard feelings, right? We're both adults here." The bartender, Mike Sullivan, is someone I went to high school with. He's also someone who's never liked Dominic's arrogant attitude. When I slip him $50 and ask him to play something from my phone through the bar's sound system in 10 minutes, he nods and pockets the money. I return to my table and wait. Dominic orders another beer and starts talking to his friends, gradually getting louder as the alcohol takes effect. At exactly 9:10, Mike connects my phone to the bar's speakers. "Ladies and gentlemen," Mike announces, "we've got some special entertainment tonight. A little slice of life from one of our regular customers." The bar fills with Dominic's voice, recorded during his bragging session 2 weeks ago. "You should see this chick I'm banging. Married to some loser who doesn't know what he's got. She does things that would make your head spin." Every conversation in the bar stops. Dominic's face goes white, then red, then white again. The recording continues. "What about Susie? What about her? She's having her fun too. We're very progressive." Someone near the bar laughs, then someone else. Within seconds, the entire place is either laughing or staring at Dominic in disgust. "Turn it off," Dominic shouts, but Mike just shrugs. "Technical difficulties," Mike says. "These old systems, you know?" The recording plays for another minute, with Dominic describing his sexual exploits in graphic detail. When it finally ends, the bar is dead silent. Then Susie Carter walks through the front door. She's clearly been drinking, and her eyes are red from crying. She scans the room until she spots Dominic, then marches straight toward him. "You son of a bitch," she says, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Susie, I can explain." She slaps him. Hard. The sound echoes through the bar like a gunshot. "Explain what? How you've been bragging about screwing my best friend? How you've been calling her husband a loser while you're living in his house, eating his food, and destroying his marriage?" "It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that." She turns to address the entire bar. "You want to know what kind of man Dominic Ruiz really is? He's been sleeping with 3 different women behind my back, including my best friend and her 19-year-old babysitter." The crowd murmurs. This is news to everyone, including me. "He told me he loved me," Susie continues, tears streaming down her face. "He told me I was special, that we had something real. But I was just another conquest, another story to tell his drinking buddies." Dominic tries to grab her arm, but she jerks away. "Don't touch me. Don't ever touch me again." She looks around the bar one more time. "And for anyone who's thinking about getting involved with this piece of trash, just remember, if he'll cheat with you, he'll cheat on you." She storms out, leaving Dominic standing alone in the middle of the bar, surrounded by his coworkers, neighbors, and friends, all of whom are looking at him like he's something they scraped off their shoes. One by one, people start leaving. Dominic's friends abandon him, his coworkers turn their backs, and within 30 minutes, the bar is nearly empty. Dominic sits alone at the bar, staring at his reflection in the mirror behind the bottles. I finish my beer and walk over to him. Rough night? I ask. He doesn't look at me. You did this. Did what? I didn't make you cheat. I didn't make you brag about it. I didn't make you treat people like garbage. You set me up. I gave you enough rope. You hanged yourself. He finally turns to face me, and I see something broken in his eyes. You think you've won? I know I have. This isn't over. I lean closer, close enough that only he can hear me. Yes, it is. You're done, Dom. Your wife left you. Your friends think you're scum. And by Monday morning, your boss is going to know exactly what kind of employee he's got. You're finished in this town. I stand up and toss a 20 on the bar. Tarzan, meet Karma. Karma Tarzan. The few remaining customers laugh, and Dominic's face crumples. I walk out of the Rusty Anchor feeling lighter than I have in months. Behind me, I can hear Dominic ordering another drink, but his voice sounds hollow, defeated. The king of the jungle is just another wet, angry man. Monday morning brings news that spreads through town faster than wildfire. Dominic Ruiz has been fired from his job at the factory. Officially, it's for conduct unbecoming, but everyone knows it's because the plant manager's wife was at the Chamber of Commerce dinner and saw the whole show. Alicia calls me at work, hysterical. They let me go, she sobs. Bob Chen said my personal life was affecting the restaurant's reputation. Greg, I have nothing. No job, no money, nowhere to live. And that's unfortunate. And please, I'm begging you, can we just talk, face to face, against my better judgment? I agree to meet her at the town square at lunch. It's a public place, neutral ground, and I'm curious to see what she thinks she can say that will make any difference now. She's waiting on a bench when I arrive, and she looks terrible. Her hair is unwashed, her clothes are wrinkled, and she's lost weight. The confident, manipulative woman I married has been replaced by someone desperate and broken. Thank you for coming, she says as I sit down beside her. You've got 10 minutes. I know you hate me. I know I destroyed everything we had. But I need you to understand, I never wanted to hurt you. Really? Because I have a recording that says otherwise. Her face goes pale. What recording? I pull out the device Susie gave me and press play. Alicia's voice fills the air between us. We need to get rid of Greg. He's suspicious, and if he finds out about us, he'll take everything. She listens to her own words, her expression changing from confusion to horror to resignation. Where did you get that? Your best friend. Turns out she has a conscience after all. Greg, I was drunk when I said those things. I wasn't thinking clearly. I would never have actually framed me for domestic violence, destroyed my reputation, taken everything I've worked for. I stand up. Maybe you would have, maybe you wouldn't, but the fact that you even thought about it tells me everything I need to know about who you really are. A small crowd has gathered around us. In a town this size, public arguments are entertainment, and word spreads quickly when the participants are already local celebrities. What do you want from me? Alicia asks, her voice breaking. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You've already given me everything I need. I don't understand. I pull out my phone and show her the screen. It's a Facebook post with over 500 shares. Local woman plots to frame husband for domestic violence, audio recording included. Susie wasn't the only one recording conversations, I explain. I've been documenting everything for weeks. Your affair, your plans, your lies. It's all public now. Alicia stares at the phone, watching her reputation die in real time as comments pour in from people she's known her entire life. You've destroyed me, she whispers. No, you destroyed yourself. I just made sure everyone could see it. She starts crying then, deep, wrenching sobs that might have moved me 6 months ago. Now they just sound like noise. I loved you, she says through her tears. No, you didn't. You loved what I could give you. The house, the stability, the respectability. But you never loved me. A black sedan pulls up to the curb, and Dominic gets out. He looks as bad as Alicia, unshaven, hollow-eyed, wearing the same clothes I saw him in at the bar Friday night. Get in the car, he tells Alicia. Dom, I don't think. Get in the goddamn car. She looks at me one last time, maybe hoping for some sign of forgiveness or mercy. She doesn't find it. Goodbye, Alicia. She walks to the car like she's going to her execution. Dominic slams her door harder than necessary, then turns to face me. You think you're so smart, he says. Smart enough. This isn't over. Yes, it is. You're both leaving town. Today. Because if you stay, things are only going to get worse for you. You can't make us leave. I smile, and it's not a nice smile. I don't have to make you do anything. Your neighbors know who you are now. Your employers know who you are. Your friends know who you are. How long do you think you can last in a place where everyone thinks you're garbage? Dominic's hands clench into fists, but he doesn't swing. He's learned his lesson about fighting me in public. We'll go, he says finally. But don't think this makes you the good guy. You're just as bad as we are. Maybe, but I'm the one still standing. He gets in the car and drives away. I watch until they disappear around the corner, then turn to face the crowd that's been watching our little drama. Show's over, folks, I announce. Most of them disperse, but Richard Ford approaches me. Jesus, Greg, that was necessary. You know they'll probably be back. No, they won't. There's nothing left for them here. That evening, I'm sitting at the bar in the Rusty Anchor, nursing a beer and watching the sunset through the window. Deshaun joins me, sliding onto the adjacent stool. Heard they left town, he says. Both of them. Packed everything they could fit in Dom's truck and headed south. Good riddance. He signals the bartender for a beer. So what now? Now I get my life back. Any regrets? I think about it for a moment. Really think about it. 6 months ago, I was a married man with a stable life and a future I thought I could count on. Now I'm divorced, living alone, and half the town thinks I'm either a hero or a villain, depending on their perspective. No, I say finally, no regrets. Mike Sullivan, the bartender, refills my glass without being asked. On the house, he says, for the entertainment value. I raise my glass in a mock toast. To Catwoman and Tarzan, may they find the jungle they deserve. Deshaun laughs. And to you, my friend, the man who proved that sometimes the good guy wins. I'm not the good guy in this story. Maybe not, but you're the one who's still here. Outside, the sun sets over the ocean, painting the sky in shades of red and gold. The Victorian house is waiting for me, empty but clean, free of the smell of betrayal and lies. Catwoman lost her claws. Tarzan lost his tree. Me? I've got my life back.